Hey everybody, it's Goblinox and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'm playing another sealed of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, some more practice for the Arena Open on February 26th. That is going to be a limited Arena Open sealed day 1, traditional draft day 2. So without further ado, let's hop into another sealed event of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, see what we open up in our sealed pool. Alright, well this will be my first opportunity to potentially try to play Tamiyo Completed Sage, although she will tie us into green and blue, so ideally both of those colors are pretty good in our sealed pool to play around with this card, but she's going to be in fantastic limited Planeswalker. She is a 5 mana, 5 loyalty Planeswalker. You can +1 to tap an artifact or creature doesn't untap during the next untap step, so protect yourself with that. -X, you can exile an online permanent with mana value X from your graveyard to create a token that's a copy of that card. So bring back your best card that's been killed already as long as it costs 5 or less. And then the ultimate, -7, create Tamiyo's Notebook. A legendary colorless artifact token that makes spells you cast cost 2 less. You can tap it to draw a card, essentially making it so you draw 2 cards a turn for the rest of the game, and all of your stuff's really cheap. So again, like most ultimates, going to be an absolute game ender there. She also has the completed ability, which means 1 of her mana can be paid with 2 life instead. And if you pay it with 2 life, she will enter with 2 fewer loyalty counters. So you could do her as a 4 mana, 3 loyalty Planeswalker instead of casting her as a 5 mana, 5 loyalty. So really versatile card too, and pretty powerful. Next up, we have the Restoration of Iganjo. Really good card. As always with the sagas, it's going to do these abilities over time, but when you stack all the abilities together, they are quite good. Grab a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, discard a card to return a permanent with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. You can discard a land from your hand, and then immediately bring the land that you discarded back. So even if you have nothing else to bring back, just discard a land, ramp up. And then the final part, a 3/4 Vigilance that spits a 1/1 out every time it attacks or blocks, very similar to Brimaz from the old Theros block, if you remember that. Inventive Iteration is a really powerful and incredibly annoying saga. For 4 mana, you're bouncing a creature or Planeswalker to its owner's hand, then returning an artifact from your grave to your hand or drawing a card, and then getting a 3/3 flyer out that potentially shuts down some of the spells your opponent's trying to cast. Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice is probably our weakest rare. It's just very, very specific. A 2 mana 2/2. Whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura, and with a different name than each aura you control. Put that card on the battlefield attached to Lightpaws, then shuffle. So essentially, when an aura comes into play, you can pull out another aura. If it's an aura with a different name than everything you have, except that the aura that you pull out has to go onto Lightpaws, so you can't pull out the Pacifism aura and put it on an opposing creature or anything fancy like that. So very, very narrow card, but pretty fun and constructed. Thundering Raiju is not narrow at all, and it's fantastic in limited. 4 mana for a 3/3 haste. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, then deal X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control other than Thundering Raiju. So by itself, 4 mana 4/4 haste, or put some counters on your other creatures to deal damage as it attacks and make the rest of your field big. Just a ridiculous card. Soul Transfer, just a great removal spell. Exile a creature, Planeswalker, and if you control an artifact and enchantment, then also return creature, Planeswalker from your grave to hand. So really sick, 2-for-1 potentially. So pretty nice sealed pool. The rares are a little all over the place, so we are really going to have to rely on what colors just have the best commons and uncommons here to see which way we really want to go. Our rares don't super directly take us in a certain direction. So we'll start off, as I tend to do, by checking out our multicolored cards, see if there's any really obvious way to go. And there's not, just a Jukai Naturalist, the green-white enchantments cost reducer. So that's fine if we end up in green-white, but not really a reason to head that way. We have High Speed Hoverbike that will run in any deck that we're playing in terms of our colorless cards. It's a really good card, similar to Sky Skiff from Kaladesh. It's a 2 mana 2/2 flying vehicle that crews for 1, but it's also instant speed, and it taps something when you play it. So really, really nice vehicle here. Love the high-speed hoverbike. We're going to play that in any deck we play. We'll probably play Tawashi Guidebot in any deck we play as well. A little bit of a slower card, so I wouldn't run it in super aggressive decks, but most sealed decks are going to be slower. This is a 4 mana 2/1, puts a counter on something, then sits there drawing cards at an activated ability of 4 mana maximum. gets reduced for each modified creature you control. So if you have whatever creature you put a counter on still on the board, then it only costs 3 mana to tap it and draw a card. So it can be really, really good. Generally going to play it in pretty much anything. Uncharted Haven I will literally play in anything, 2 color or more. And yeah, so let's slap that in. That's the baseline of the deck no matter what way we go. And let's start looking at our different colors and see how they are. So starting off with the white. Oh, I missed a white card. Repel the Vile. That is main deckable. There's so many artifacts to get rid of. Alright, we have Hotshot Mechanic, Spirited Companion, Selfless Samurai is super nice. Light Pause is fine, but we don't have anything to combo with it. We have 1 aura, so Light Pause is kind of just a 2-mana 2-2. Imperial Subduer is nice. Nariki Yamazaki is really good with a lot of enchantments. The Restoration of Ikanjo is great. Befriending the Moths is great. Get a lot of flying damage in there, then spit out a big moth. Nice pacifism effect. Don't love main decking Lucky Offering. And Katana's only good with a lot of Samurai or Warrior, but we already have a good count, right? We already have 3 Samurai, so depending on our secondary color, we could play Katana. White seems... I mean, it seems solid. Restoration of Ikanjo is really good. Some good removal. Intercessor's Rest is fantastic, and then we have double Repel the Vile, which is going to be great against enchantment decks and okay against other decks, only killing the big stuff. But yeah, white seems pretty solid. Take a look at blue now. Oh no, we got the blue Go Shintai. Do not like that card. It's a 2-mana 0/4 Defender Flyer thing. Just annoying more than anything. Short Circuit is pretty bad removal. Ideally, we don't play that. Planar Incision's pretty narrow, as is Spell Pierce. Future Sentinel's a lot of mana for the vehicle and a lot of power to crew it. Reality Heist, you want to have a really high artifact count, not only to reduce the cost, but also to make sure you're pulling something out with it. So maybe if we're like blue-red, but generally not a huge fan of it. Mirror Shell Crab, though, is pretty great. Nice game-ending crab or a counter spell early. Trespassers is also flexible. Iteration's great. Guardians is a little iffy, but Puzzle Maker's good. Modern Age is good. Go Shintai's okay. Blue seems very medium. There's nothing super bomby pulling us into blue, just Inventive Iteration. And other than that, our removal in blue is just a Disruption Protocol. And as far as like premium commons and uncommons, we've got Modern Age, Network Disruptor, and Mirror Shell Crab. But the others are pretty filler. Cyber Trespassers, Guardians of Oboro, Go Shintai. Blue is fine, I would say. So moving on to black now. Really awkward stuff in black, apparently. Wow, yeah, our black looks really weird. But I did notice when I still had the filter on to show creatures only, we had like no creatures in black. We have 3 creatures in black, one of which is a saga. So there's like no creatures here, but wow, look at the removal. Double Assassin's Ink. Instant speed, destroy a creature, planeswalker. Sometimes it's even cheaper than 4. Twisted Embrace, destroy a creature, planeswalker, and buff one of your cards. Malicious Malfunction, to get rid of all the small stuff if you're playing against an aggressive deck. Soul Transfer to exile a creature, planeswalker. Double Lethal Exploit. We just have the removal package in black. So if we want to pair a color with a bunch of creatures, but not a lot of removal, with something else, we're absolutely pairing it with black. So if we see, yeah, if we have a color that's just a lot of good creatures and stuff, we could easily just go that color plus black and call it a day, because wow. And it looks like we've got a lot of red creatures, a lot of green creatures too, but we're moving on to red now. Next up. Ooh, I already love what I'm seeing in red. I'm going to be entirely honest. I do love the red-black artifact decks as well, so I may be a bit biased, but double Experimental Synthesizer is quite the card draw for a red deck. You don't generally cast this till like turn 4. That way, if you hit a 3-mana card or less, you can cast that off of the Synthesizer. And of course, if you hit a land, you play the land for turn. Then you don't generally sacrifice it until turn 7, when you can spend 3 to sack and then still have, 3 mana left to cast whatever you hit. But it's a really good deal when you are doing that. Explosive entry I don't love main decking, so I think I'm going to get rid of those. But Kami's Flare is great cheap removal. Voltage Surge is great cheap removal. Dragon Spark Reactor is a huge artifact build around card if you're just an aggressive deck with a lot of artifact creatures. Gift of Wrath probably doesn't go with the theme too much. They'd probably cut that. But we have Tawashi Songshaper, another card great with aggressive artifacts, as is Sokenzen Smelter, good to sacrifice the eggs too, the experimental synthesizers. Kumano Faces Kakazan's a super aggro creature. Reinforced Ronin's a super aggro creature that happens to combo incredibly well with Dragon Spark Reactor. Upriser Renegade works great if we have the little 1-mana creature that comes in with a +1/+1 counter. Which I think we did. We'll check again, but it looks like potentially a red artifact-based aggressive deck could work out here. Let's see. Yeah, we had 2 Iron Apprentice. Like, if we go down the red path, we're definitely playing these. I don't know about the Puppet or the Shrine Steward, but we are certainly playing double Iron Apprentice going down the red path here, because they combo incredibly well with Dragon Spark Reactor, super well with Upriser Renegades. They make the Upriser Renegades just a 2-mana 3/3. The Tawashi Songshaper they also combo well with by just being a cheap artifact to play. So I really like the look of just aggressive red stuff. How would it look paired with black to just be red-black artifact aggro? And just have a massive mountain of removal, really. Double Assassin's Ink, double Twisted Embrace, Soul Transfer, double Lethal Exploit. Good lord. Yeah, I think that's what we would be doing if we're red-black. We'd have the Guide Bot on 4. More modified stuff, definitely not cutting any creatures here. So we just cut the weakest of all our removal, which is probably Lethal Exploit when you compare it to Voltage Surge and Kami's Flare that we have in red. Yeah, probably cut 2 Lethal Exploit, maybe even a land here. But yeah, this just looks like a mean, just absolutely rude, aggressive Rakdos deck. Great card draw with the synthesizers. Great mana fixing, double Haven. It might be being kind of a dork here, but I really like the look of this. We might even want to cut 2 Twisted Embrace just to keep the curve lower, keep all the removal really cheap. Cut 2 Twisted Embrace, 1 land. Call it a day like that instead, because the Assassin's Ink's like 3 mana instant speed removal. Sure, getting +1/+1 from Twisted Embrace is nice to deal more damage while we're clearing the board, but we have so much removal and so much cheap removal here too. Although, again, probably early turns we're just playing creatures, so actually I'm going to cut the exploits over the Embraces, because the other thing about the Embraces is they can kill anything. They do have a lot of removal that only kills small stuff if I leave in the Lethal Exploits. Then we have Voltage Surge, Kami's Flare, and Double Exploit to kill only small things. I think I prefer having 5 ways to kill literally anything. That's just incredible, that stack of removal. So we would cut Double Exploit here, and then how's our colors looking? 13 red, 7 black. Cut another black then, although a lot of double black, wow. A lot of double black, only 1 double red. I think I would still cut a black source here, because we still have 8, even cutting that. Although, no, let's go 9 of each. 9 red, 9 black this way. Yeah, I mean, super aggressive for a sealed pool, for a sealed deck here, but I really like the look of this Rakdos, to the point where I'm going to save this deck before I start looking at my other colors. And then if nothing quite looks as exciting as that, we'll just go down the Rakdos path, which is a really interesting path to go, because it also only uses like 1 of our rares. The Thundering Raiju. I guess one of the black removal spells was a rare as well, so it uses that. So let's see what we have in green now. The final color to take a peek at. Looks pretty fine. Might be a better pair for red than the black is, actually, just because the black didn't have any creatures. So if we pair green in there, then we have more late game plays. Yeah, green looks pretty fine. I do really like the Tales of Master Sashiro. +1/+1 counter and Vigilance can be a pretty big swing, and of course, once you flip it into a 5/5 Vigilance Haste, that's ridiculous. Blossom Prancer is a great deal every time you cast it. Just don't love our medium range drops. Geothermal Kami is really good with good enter the battlefield or channel effects on your enchantments, but we don't really have any of that going on. Bearer of Memory is fine. Not going to use this ability often, but when you do, you're going to be happy with it, being able to give trample in cluttered board states and keep making your creature bigger and bigger. Heir of the Ancient Fang is just not great. Usually it's just a 3 mana 2/3. I guess we'd have double Iron Sentry if we go green-red. Or whatever we go, and we could just play the colorless Iron Sentries to help with this. And our non-creature stuff's pretty solid too. Season of Renewal is a great deal. Returning 2 things from your grave to hand at instant speed. Master's Rebuke is good removal. Spinning Wheel Kick, technically, potentially multiple removal spells in one quite late in the game. So yeah, green, we've got solid stuff for playing a slower kind of deck. But I think I'm pretty happy to go with just the dumb, super aggressive beats that black-red allows us to play here. We'll have the Iron Apprentice be the deck box artwork. And yeah, let's just get in there. Let's just beat down the quick Rakdos aggro deck with just a mountain of removal. Here we are, game 1 with the Rakdos aggro deck on the play. We would love to have an Iron Apprentice in here to go with the Songshaper and Renegade, but still going to keep the hand regardless. We'll just wait till turn 2 and slam down our Songshaper, I think, first. Not going to play a turn 1 Synthesizer, that would be pretty bad. You can play it turn 2 if you really want to hit a land, but turn 1, you're just exiling a card for nothing. There's no chance you get a 0 mana card. And Dockside Chef from our opponent. That just makes me really sad because I did name this deck the Iron Chef after the Iron Apprentice. But then I realized quickly that that would be a great name for a Rakdos Sacrifice deck that has Iron Apprentice and the Dockside Chef. And then I got really sad that we didn't open any Dockside Chefs because they would work really well in this deck. So now to pour salt in the wound, the very first card we'll see is a Dockside Chef from our opponent. Alright, so play our Upriser Renegade and play our Uncharted Haven for our next black source for these Twisted Embraces. Seems pretty good to me. Attack for 2 here. They don't have a good block. Their Bronze Cudgels is going to require quite a bit of mana to start doing some damage, but it will get to some large amounts of damage when they start dumping a bunch into it. So for 2 mana, they're giving +1/+0. For 4 mana, they're giving +3/+0. For 6 mana, they're giving +6/+0. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I am terrified to play against this card. This card is absolutely absurd. For 3 mana, you get 2 2/2s, and they both have a really good ability. This one gives them a treasure whenever they attack. The next one makes a copy of something for only 1 mana. It's a temporary copy, but still really good. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is a rough rare to play against because it's going to 2-for-1 you pretty much every time. You're going to have to use removal spell on one of the 2/2s, and they're still going to have the other one left behind. So that's brutal. Just want to play Undercity Scoundrel. I think I just leave Kami's Flare to kill their Reflection of Kiki-Jiki at instant speed. I think that's my plan here overall. Am I cool trading Songshaper for the Shaman that makes treasures? I think I'm cool with that. We'll attack in, see what happens. Alright, we'll just Scrounger. No trades occurred. So our opponent even got value on the middle mode of the Mirror Breaker, discarding a swamp to draw a card there. So potentially like the 3-for-1 here. Still 1 mana away from the Twisted Embrace. If I Experimental Synthesizer here, I'm not guaranteed to be holding up a red unless I have a mountain on top, like exactly a mountain, so I don't think I can afford to play anything here. I just hold the mana up to blow up their Kiki-Jiki. Well, I was willing to trade Songshaper off in the past, so I guess I'm still willing to trade it off here. I guess they can crew the Brute Suit, and then I have to blow that up. Yeah, that was a misplay. Forgot about the Brute Suit. Do we blow up the Brute Suit, or... I don't have much of a choice, do I? We blow up the Brute Suit. So now our plan is to Twisted Embrace Kiki-Jiki. This doesn't end that poorly, because now we make Songshaper hit for more damage if they don't block by spitting out a treasure token. And I think even if they do block, we're going to spit out the treasure token. And then because we have the treasure token, we know that we have the mana to cast Twisted Embrace next turn. Yeah, that line, it's not as bad as it looked. It's actually probably fine, because we have the backup removal spell. Get rid of the reflection of Kiki Jiki. Plus, once we cast the Twisted Embrace, we will have a modified creature on the board, which makes our Upriser Renegade a 3/3. I'm pretty concerned if our opponent has a bunch of mana floating after this turn. I'd be pretty concerned that they could have an instant speed removal spell that would counter our Twisted Embrace. So, I mean, they do have the 2 mana up. That could be 2 mana to deal 3 damage to any target. They have just 1 mana up. It could still be 1 red mana instant speed, 2 damage to target creature. Although they haven't played it up till this point, so unless they drew it off the top immediately, I don't think they have it. So I think I'm still going to Twisted Embrace on the Songshaper, because then it's big enough to still attack in this turn. I don't want to do it on Scrounger, even though it's slightly safer, because if they have the 2 damage spell, it doesn't work. Actually, it's not really that much safer, because if they have the 1 mana 2 damage, they could sacrifice an artifact to make it 4 damage. They can just sacrifice the Cudgels to kill the Scrounger anyway. So yeah, we definitely put this on the Songshaper to kill the Kiki Jiki. Oh my god, do they have it? Okay, no, it's probably just Bronze Cudgels holding for them. Or the Dockside Chef or something. Now we have 2 3/3s because Upriser Renegade. They can double block and kill one of these if they want. They don't want to block at all. We take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, they could dump all their mana into this, that'd be 6. So 5 plus 6 take 11. They can't lethal us. Let's get our treasure. We're still pretty stuck on mana. I think it's worth it. Get our treasure here and hit for 1 more. They are down to 6. Could use the treasure immediately to try to land. I don't think I want to do that though. So the Unforgiving one can return stuff from their grave, but they have no creatures in grave anyway, so doesn't do much here. Flame Discharge, kill our Songshaper. Fair enough. Shuts down the Renegade as well, makes that a 1/3. So things are now, even though they have more life than us, they're looking pretty bad for us because our opponent has a much better board state. Although this Reckoner Shakedown, if they just make us discard a card here, then I'm actually feeling kind of solid. Okay, no. They put the counters on. Now I'm very scared. It's a 4/5 menace with a Bronze Cudgels on it. The Bronze Cudgels certainly putting in work here. Yeah, we need to draw into some good stuff. Let's synthesize her into some removal. We have like a million removal spells in the deck, so hopefully we can pull some out. And there we go. Assassin's Ink it is. I would rather cast that without sacrificing the treasure. These are both black, so we can do that. And get a treasure token off our Undercity Scrounger. And then we chump block with Renegade on whatever they put the Cudgels on. And then we can use Smelter to start turning the treasure into 3/1s. It's actually, it feels like it's actually starting to get into our favor here. Oh, they accidentally did the +2 ability first. Alright, Iron Apprentice. It's a modified creature, it buffs the Renegade, that seems pretty good. But I think I just want to play a Synthesizer before I do anything else. What do we have now? Another Iron Apprentice. Well, I'll play that Iron Apprentice then. For certain. Play another Iron Apprentice and the Renegade's getting massive. And then again, hold on to all these treasure tokens for more creatures off of the Sokensen Smelter. They can bronze cudgels to trade up into the Renegade. Now we have great chump blockers, so I think I'm okay just sending in the attack here. If they want to kill the Renegade, they have to not sacrifice the 2/2 and not draw the card off the Dockside Chef. Nice. So now they just have a 1/2, and we've got a lot going on. Because these experimental synthesizers have really gotten us out of this one by just drawing us some cards here. The Scrounger's been working well too. I should have tapped the Scrounger. I missed a treasure token here, which is actually kind of big with this Sokensen Smelter. Trade their Dockside Chef off or take 3. Could have attacked with everybody. And they're forced to block somewhere, but they could just block like a 1/1. Still not die. Alright. That'll be 1-0 to start it off. Alright, here we are on the play. Really awkward hand. No red mana for all these red cards. Could definitely soul transfer, but I think on the play, even if we had the mana for the red cards, it's just all removal. I'm gonna have to take the mulligan here. This is much better. We've got a Ronin going on and plenty of land, so we can ditch 1 here. We've got the synthesizer once we've got more mana. Dismal backwater to start from our opponent. We need double red to play Reactor plus Ronin in the same turn. I think it's probably best to just get Reactor out here, so we can make sure this has enough counters to do something meaningful pretty soon. Ooh, Assassin's Ink's a pretty good draw. I think I just play Ronin. They have for 2 mana here. They're going to blow up our Ronin. Can't do our Ronin combo anymore. Yep. 2 mana, 2 damage to the Ronin. Fair enough. Much happier to see the 1-for-1 happen with the Twin Shot Sniper than the 2-for-1 where they get to cast it, keep it on the board, and kill one of our cards. Mindlink Mech is a very scary card. Cruise for only 1, and whatever it cruise, it becomes a copy of that. That's just also a 4/3 flyer. So they'll be slamming in for 4 in the sky here with a flying Tawashi Guidebot. And we are down to 16 immediately. So we have Assassin's Ink to use at instant speed to blow up the Mindlink Mech, and I think that's what we want to do. We can also kill the Guidebot though, but then the next creature they play is going to immediately crew the Mindlink Mech, and so on and so on. It's just going to keep being a problem. So I think I need to blow up the Mindlink Mech first and then consider killing the Tawashi Guidebot. Wow, white, blue, black, and red from our opponent. 4 colors. Crew the mech. Attack with that Guidebot. This is before blockers, so it is not an unblocked creature yet, so I'll go ahead and try to kill it before they can ninjutsu. And Undercity Scrounger is popping off with the Dragonspark Reactor. We can go ahead and use the Reactor to kill the Guidebot, but we can also use Twisted Embrace, although our opponent has a lot of mana up here to maybe blow up our Scrounger at instant speed and ruin that. So I'm just going to play the Synthesizer, see what happens. If we don't hit anything good, we'll just blow up the Guidebot. Yeah. Alright, well, we'll just blow up the Guidebot then. Hold on to the Twisted Embrace for another time, and I think I'd rather get a treasure token than hit them for 1. So we have these lying around to use with our Sokens and Smelter, or to pay for whatever we need off the synthesizer. Shaprona still has 2 mana up. I'm going to hope that that 2 mana is not enough to deal with our Scrounger here. But if it is enough to kill the Scrounger, we are out of luck. Alright, Twisted Embrace resolved, so Hidetsugu will leave the board. They do get to sacrifice it to Scry 2 at least. And I think I would rather hit my opponent for 2 than get 1 treasure token. I think if it's just 1 damage to my opponent or 1 treasure token, I'd rather get the treasure token, but if it's 2 damage, sure, we'll get the 2 damage. Alright, Behold the Unspeakable is spooky. We'll go ahead and do our experimental synthesizer now, see where we go from there. Keep a Reckoner raid, not bad. Come on out. No attacks, we have no power because of the Behold the Unspeakable. Now they get to scry 2 and draw 2, really good card. Scry 2, draw 2, then they make a flyer with power and toughness equal to the cards in hand. Actually a Flampler, Flying Trample. Moon Snare Specialist, we can Kami's Flare that, which is nice. But they are going to kill our Vigilant Knight, unfortunately. Yeah, that's not ideal for us. Yeah, we can't stop them from killing that, so that's gone. And an Undercity Scrounger of their own. Okay. We'll Kami's Flare, get rid of their 2/2 and deal some damage to them. And get a treasure token. We'll Twisted Embrace on the Flampler once that comes out. There's the Sokens and Smelter, the incredible combo with Undercity Scrounger. And we're just going to go off with it here. Ooh, no, 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 no. There we go. And again, holding onto the Twisted Embrace to kill the Flying Trample card from Behold the Unspeakable. Or alternatively, to kill the big old 8/8 Hexproofer once it's tapped. But we can't kill that yet. That is an issue. We could try to just kill them in the sky with our high-speed hover bike, can't we? It's flying in menace too, because this gives all our vehicles menace. So the hover bike's huge here. We probably go for a hover bike kill, unless they attack us with Skyscraper, then we'll just blow up Skyscraper and kill them on the ground, but I don't think they'll do that. Yeah, we can definitely find a way to also maybe just go wide and find lethal next turn. Because we're going to tap down one creature, we're going to blow up another one. They're going to have one blocker up potentially here. I like the sound effect that plays. Nice little vroom vroom. So if they have one blocker up, they block one of our 3 power creatures. Kami's Flare on the Smelter. Sure. Can't do anything about that. Okay, so if they have one blocker up, block a 3 power right there. They take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not quite lethal, unfortunately. Because this hover bike doesn't add to our power on board. It's the same amount. We spend 2 to crew it, and then we attack for 2. So. Peerless Samurai's the draw. It's not quite lethal, but I feel like it's worth it, right? To go for the big attack here. Because then it's so easily lethal next turn, because we have multiple menace creatures that'll be attacking in. They just kill a 3/1 on this block with the Skyscraper. So we go Actually, if we play another creature, it could be lethal. This might actually be lethal because we're crewing with another creature now. So we're going to be attacking with this. They block there. I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is exact lethal because we have another creature now. So Twisted Embrace. I'm going to use it on the hover bike because that's less likely to die to instant speed removal. Blow up the Scrounger. If they don't have instant speed removal, this actually is lethal because we drew a creature to crew the hover bike here. So we didn't have to tap one of these to do it. They block 3. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, tap it down. Stop its abilities. So, okay, they do stop it from being lethal. But we still hit for 7 and kill them next turn. So we'll just do that. We take 10 on the crackback. Multiple menace creatures on board. The Road Captain and the Samurai. Alright, nice. Still going to be lethal there. That is going to be 2 and 0. Here we are in round 3. This sounds a little awkwardly slow for our deck, but I'm definitely keeping it. We have both of our colors, and Dragonspark Reactor is going to have 2 counters at least because of our Undercity Scrounger. And those cards do function quite well together, especially with the removal backup to make sure we're getting some treasure tokens. Turn 1 Reinforced Ronan from our opponents. Pretty scary though for a slow hand like this, but if we immediately draw Voltage Surge, we've got a plan for that Ronan. And the plan is to just say goodbye. We've drawn the second black source for the Twisted Embraces now, so now we've got the mana we need for everything in hand. Pretty much everything in deck as well. The Rakdos mirror match it is. Same lands too. I think these are just the default lands if you got the Kamigawa lands. Yeah, Dragonspark Reactor. The mirror matches here. Chain Flail Centipede from our opponent. Rather Twisted Embrace or Assassin's Ink. Embrace is more expensive, and it'll make the Assassin's Ink only cost 2 for the future. So we'll use this. I could make a... I think I am going to make a treasure token rather than hit for 2 just to make the Dragonspark Reactor bigger here. Searchlight Companion from our opponent. Not going to be ideal to use any removal on that. Just a couple 1/1s here. They have 1 card left in their hand. They're about to blow something up here. Explosive entry it is. Blow up an artifact, put a counter on a creature. So goodbye to our Dragonspark Reactor, but Sokensen Smelter still gets to do its thing. We have the mana to use Sokensen Smelter and hold up Assassin's Ink. That's so big here. We play Sokensen Smelter. The only card they have left is Dragonspark Reactor, so we just have our Smelter go off, right? Yeah. Combat. Pay the 1. Sack the treasure. Got a 3/1. Send the 3/1 in. Holding up the Scrounger to make another treasure if they trade here. So we can use the Smelter again if they don't kill it. So they probably kill the Smelter here with their Dragonspark Reactor, which makes it so they've got only a Searchlight Companion left, and we still have a Scrounger, which is bigger than the Companion. So we are winning on board, plus have a removal spell left in hand. Or 2 left in hand if I don't kill the Companion here. But I think I kill the Companion here. Right? I kill the Companion, and now it's a 2/5 and a removal spell versus nothing in a top deck war, which means on average we're super likely to win from this point on. We got to get real unlucky not to. Alright. Really like the position. Oh my god. Well, excellent start to the top deck war. I guess I should not have played the land. Yeah, I really shouldn't have played the land, because it could have been this or it could have been the Virus Beetle. The Virus Beetle would have been completely stopped by just holding on to a land here as well. That was a huge misplay, just playing the 6th land. Rough. God, that's the maximum punishment off the top deck from our opponent. Actually insane. I guess we just discard the removal spell. Sack the 2/5 Scrounger over the menace creature here. Land from us. I'm going to hold on to this in case they start playing Virus Beetles. Make up for past mistakes, maybe. So, how badly does that hit us? It doesn't hit that hard, does it? We only have 2 creatures in graves. That hits for 2 damage. Experimental Synthesizer. These are the draws I'm looking for. This is some sick stuff. Yep. Cast the Song Shaper off of it, and then next turn, we'll do it again. I'm actually going to play the land here and then hopefully just cast everything that I hit from now on. Although, yeah, maybe I still should have kept the land because we have sorcery speed removal in the deck if they start playing Virus Beetles. Or a second Animus of Night's Reach. Alright, attack in for 2 here. Nope. Definitely thinking about it. 14 life for our opponent, 13 life for us. We win the race by a little bit, but both of their creatures have menace, so it's pretty scary. But our Experimental Synthesizer really helps us. Spits out a 2/2 Knight and potentially casts another spell on top of it. So Synthesizer could be our real kind of win condition here even. Oh yeah, it hits an Iron Apprentice. I mean, not the scariest card in the world, but triggers the Song Shaper for an extra damage here. Gives us another creature on the board to block with, which is beautiful. Bloodfell Caves from our opponent, gains them life, which could be significant. Iron Apprentice is the draw we can use to buff our Song Shaper, but it still just trades for Road Captain either way. Probably just attack all here. Get our buff in though. They crack back for 4. Maybe we just attack with these. Because this way we don't lose a creature. Because Iron Apprentice could just get blocked by a Road Captain. We don't lose a creature without trading. And we still have creatures to block Menace. If something explosive happens, we can double block the Menacer. Alright, they're down to 8. The Walking Skyscraper has been doing some scary stuff all over the place here. 6 damage on board. We can Soul Transfer. We don't have an enchantment on board though, so we don't get to pick anything up from grave and kill that. We can do one or the other. Guess we could pick up a Soken's Smelter. That's kind of impressive. Is that scary enough to do that instead of just exiling the Animus? I don't think it is. I think we exile the Animus and then attack with the Samurai. That puts them to 6, which makes it so they can't attack us with the Skyscraper unless they have immediate lethal. Because if they attack us with a Skyscraper, we crack back for 6 and kill them immediately. I think we exile the Animus here. Send in the Iron Apprentices and put a counter on the Samurai to speed that up. So that kills them in 2 turns also, actually. Yeah, so the Samurai kills them in 2 more hits. Or if they attack us, we immediately attack back and kill them. Ecologist Terrarium can put a +1/+1 counter on the Skyscraper. It doesn't get Vigilance, does it? +1/+1 counter. Okay, yeah, it doesn't. So they can just make it a 9/9. But they can't attack in without dying, so they have to pass. If we attack all, they kill our 2/2 and go to 1. I feel like just putting them to 2 and not losing a creature is like just as good. And it's slightly safer against removal for them to like use removal and kill us on the crackback. Like if they have the thing that does like 2 damage to us if they have a modified card, then we would die if we sent all 3 in. I think, is that game? With double block? Yeah, it is game, because Menace. They can double block there and then die to these 2, or they can block there, die to Menace. That was a scary one. That was getting really sketchy in the end. But that'll be another victory for 3-0, undefeated thus far. Alright, here we are now in round 4. Pretty great opening hand, and I think I'm going to keep it here. Opponent is on the play. Starts with a forest. We'll start with our Okiba Reckoner Raid, playing a tapped red source turn 2 here. Goshintai of Boundless Vigor is their next play. We'll have the red mana up to kill that by the time it is a 2/2. So before it becomes too big to kill with our Voltage Surge, which is nice. Alright. So make it a 2/2. We can play our Undercity Scrounger, or just kill that. No way to play 2 cards here. I think we just kill the Goshintai before it gets any bigger here. Use a combat trick to save it, I suppose. Trade our Voltage Surge for a combat trick instead. Alright, trade our Voltage Surge for a combat trick it is. Not the end of the world, still a 1-for-1. Careful Cultivation, slam it onto the Goshintai, make it really big, and a massive target for our Twisted Embrace. Only 1 mana up, they dump it into making that even bigger. We are slamming all our mana into Twisted Embrace here. Getting a crisp, clean 2-for-1. And attacking for 3. Another Goshintai of Boundless Vigor, alright. So the train don't stop here. I like playing Kumano Face's Kakazan, so next turn we can play a bigger creature like Song Shaper with extra counters on it. Plus we have the mana to do that, plus Scrounger here, which is nice. With Menace, we're even threatening our opponent pretty well, so just dealing a damage when we play this is nice too, putting them down to 11. There's Geothermal Kami. They could gain a few life if they pick up the Goshintai, but it's probably better to keep it out, make it bigger, and that is what they choose to do. So when I cast my next creature spell this turn, it comes with an extra +1/+1 counter, so it only works on one of my creatures. So I can't just have multiple 2/2 Apprentices and a 3/3 Song Shaper, as nice as that would be. So I think if it's only going on one creature, it's probably best on Apprentice, like better on Apprentice than anything else, right? But I do think I'm just going wide here and playing a bunch of stuff still. If I attack in with Nezumi Road Captain, they have to double block to kill it, so I get to trade with their Goshintai, so that can't get any bigger throughout this game. So I think the attack is worth it for that potential trade. I probably should have played all this stuff main phase too, so they didn't know about it, so they'd be more likely to just let the damage through. Because they'd be like, well, I'm going to take so much more damage. Although, I mean, I guess it didn't matter. Because I think I would prefer having that damage go through. But it's still definitely better to give my opponent less information than more information. So they can Ninja's Kunai now to kill our 3/3 Menace creature. But that would require tapping down one of their blockers, which lets the rest of our field get in. We're about to have another 2/2 haste out as well, Kumano themselves. The etching of Kumano joining the board. So they're probably going to put Kunai on the Kami and wait until blocks to use it, so they get to block 2 creatures plus kill 1. Yeah, that's the smart play for sure. Use Synthesizer here. It is a bit awkward because if we hit a red card, it's screwed unless we get a counter off the Scourger, but we should get a counter off the Scourger here. And if we hit a black card like a removal spell, we get to send it in pre-combat to lower their blocker count, which should be excellent. Plus, we're also getting the extra power off of Song Shaper doing that here. Wow, yeah, Soul Transfer is going to be ridiculous. Yeah, we control an artifact and enchantment either way, so we Soul Transfer the Goshintai. And we actually don't have a creature in our grave yet, though. And it's sorcery speed, so we couldn't get the second part out of it, no matter how hard we tried. But yeah, pretty great hit there. So if I attack all, what happens? Block, shoot, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's worth not getting the treasure token. Let's just send it in. We can deal 7 if they don't want their geothermal Kami to die. If they want to keep it on board, we deal 7. Which I think is worth it. Yeah, put them to 1 life. Play this land, so our experimental synthesizer, whatever we hit, it's more likely we can cast it next turn. There's a Leech Gauntlet from our opponent. That's pretty big. A lifelinking blocker. They have 2 blockers and they're gaining 2 life next turn, which means they go block, block, take 2, gain 2. They'll stay at 1 life currently. They currently survive. So we have to hit something in our draw step or off experimental synthesizer to find lethal. Not even counting whatever their last card in hand is. Still a pretty bad position for our opponent, though. Upriser Renegade, I'd rather draw a card than cast that right now. Because the card could end up being immediate lethal. Assassin's Ink, unfortunately, 1 mana off from that, so it will not be immediate lethal. But I can choose not to attack with Scrounger so that I have the mana up to do that. We attack all, they go to 1. So yeah, we attack with these. They eat the Song Shaper, trade there, take 1, gain 2, but then we get to use Assassin's Ink now. Because we'll get a treasure token here. Okay, let's get a 3/3 Menace. How about that? Get a treasure token. I actually think we blow up the lifelinker. And not the 4/3. Because the lifelinker is what's making it so much harder to find lethal. Even if it doesn't block as well in terms of power and toughness. Probably should not have sent the 1/1 in there to give them the option of gaining life without losing the Leech Gauntlet. I should have just only sent in the 2-power creatures so that they are forced to trade with Leech Gauntlet and block with the Kami. Then we could have just wiped their whole board off there. Because the only way they survive is by blocking with Leech Gauntlet to gain some life there. So that was a very poor attack. Did not realize all the intricacies there. Oh god, Gloomshaker off the top. We're going to get punished hard for it too, because now they have 3 blockers, one of which is the Leech Gauntlet again. Excellent draw from our opponent. Always painful to have your opponent hit the max punishment draws like that. That's incredibly painful. Well, we're playing our Renegade here. Kills one of their creatures, whittles down their board. Trade off with the 4/3 here. Just want to lower their board state. Or just a chump block from our opponent. I'd take that too. Take that all day long. Be incredibly happy with the double block. Double block it is. All right, we take those. Down to that 1 blocker. No more lifelink around. Twisted Embrace, all right. Got a big chance. Their blocker is bigger than our attackers. We probably would have won by now if I hadn't attacked with the 1/1 earlier. That was really bad. Keep playing these lands for our synthesizers. Things are going far from ideal now. I'm very happy to see an attack from our opponent. Makes a lot more of our top decks turn into immediate lethal. Not if we draw like this, though. I think that is 4 in a row. We're having some issues. Getting quite worried here. They gain 3 life next turn, so we really want to hit removal here. This is rough. Feels really bad. They probably combat should kill us here. No, not quite. They're up to 6. Now they have Blossom Prancer off the top 2. That's too late. Yeah, it feels awful to get punished that hard for a misplay like that. Always feels bad to lose to a bad misplay, and it always feels bad to lose to some bad RNG on mana when you stack both together. Feeling pretty abysmal right now, so I think I'm going to take a short break, and then we will head into the next round. Alright, here we are in round 5 now, after a pretty brutal loss last game. Some poor plays and some bad luck. Pretty good opener here. We've got our turn 1 Iron Apprentice and just a stack of removal to hold up alongside it. So Ken's Smelter, that would be beautiful turn 2 here, but it's still going to be pretty dang absurd turn 3. We can sack the Iron Apprentice, put its counter onto the Smelter, and have a 3/1 out. Ready to attack next turn. Then we'll, of course, have Kami of Industry to bring that back at a later time. Mobilizer Mech, whenever that becomes crewed, they get to crew another vehicle, but it costs 3 power to crew it, so not going to get crewed quite yet. Or not just yet, I should say. We could even put the counter on the 3-1, have a 4-2 setting in here, so I guess I'd rather do that. More damage immediately. So Kenzen Smelter's also kind of a bigger target for removal, so have more power on the creature that's a little more likely to stick around. Just send, just pass the turn. All right, we'll send in here, holding up an Assassin's Ink to go ahead and blow up some random trick blocker here. They throw in something at instant speed, otherwise they're probably just killing one of our creatures. Yep, blow up the 4-2, fair enough. Get in, and we'll play a menace creature here, I think. Four mana up from our opponent now. They are down to 13. On blue-white vehicles, Goshintai of Shared Purpose is the play. They don't have the mana to immediately spawn a creature out of it, so we are just going to blow it up here. Make our menace creature even bigger, I think, is the plan. Yeah, they don't have the power to crew the Mobilizer Mech. So we get in for 5, guaranteed. Next turn, I'm pretty likely to play the Experimental Synthesizer, because I would prefer to play Kami of Industry when we have 6 mana up, so we can play it and sacrifice the Iron Apprentice to Kenzen Smelter's ability. 5 mana up here. I kind of just want to go to combat, again holding up Assassin's Ink. See what they've got to do here. Kyodai. So we can blow up Kyodai, but they still get to crew the Mobilizer Mech. So they are going to block Smelter with a 3/4 hexproof indestructible, no matter what we do, because we can't blow up the Mobilizer Mech until it's crewed, and it's not going to be crewed until it has indestructible and hexproof. I guess this doesn't give hexproof, just indestructible, but still. Alright, well, we'll resolve, let them go to blocks. Because if they choose to block with Kyodai instead of Mobilizer Mech, we get to keep our Kenzen Smelter around. But otherwise, we don't. And it looks like they are going to choose to crew with the mech. Or block with the mech instead of Kyodai. Could exile it with Soul Transfer, but that's sorcery speed, so again, it does not save the Kenzen Smelter. We could actually play Synthesizer and then play Soul Transfer to get rid of Kyodai, because then... yeah, then we get the having an enchantment and artifact trigger out of it and get a card back from our grave. Although now I can hide speed hover bike plus Assassin's Ink, but I think I'd rather Soul Transfer still. Get our Kenzen Smelter back. Get our Iron Apprentice with our Kami. Sky Swimmer Koi is the play. The vehicle coming in clutch again, because we have the removal spell to get rid of their blocker, but it doesn't work well against vehicles. So we play the Smelter, sacrifice the Synthesizer to the Smelter, to attack with a hasting 3/1 here. If they attempt to crew, they die, because they'll tap that down, then crew that, then I'll blow that up. If they don't attempt to crew, then they get to go to blocks, because if I try to target that, then they will crew in response. So if they do attempt to crew, they're dead. Alright, they're just going to scoop them up here. I was just going to go to combat there, sack the Synthesizer. They attempt to crew, we blow up the blocker. The vehicle, that is. If they don't attempt to crew, we just attack in with a 3/4 menace and a 3/1 haste. The 3/1 haste gets blocked by the fish. Trades there. Then we have an Assassin's Ink for their creature they play during their turn. So yeah, we pretty definitely had that one there. And the Kami of Industry as well, being a really nice play if we hit another land in the future. So 4 and 1. Round 6 now. Double Assassin's Ink. Ronin with the reactor. So Ken's Smelter with the reactor. If we get anything to sack to make more tokens with it. And we can keep sacrificing the 3-1 to replace it with a 3-1 to put more counters on the reactor. Sounds insane. The biggest issue is the lack of double black for these Assassin's Inks, but still a really good hand. The decisions on what to cast when is also going to be pretty difficult, because do we do Reactor, do we do Smelter, do we do Ronin first? What do we do here? I think I do Smelter, and because I have double red in hand now, I can go Reactor and Ronin next turn. And then we're attacking with a Ronin and the Smelter at the same time. That should be pretty nice. Opponent is on green-red. Should be pretty likely they can slap down a 2-2 here to block with, to make attacking with Smelter look pretty bad. Teachings of the Kirin. Alright, that's just a 1-1 for now. It'll be a 2-2 next turn. The card's pretty good. I had that in my last sealed deck. Used it to pretty great effect. So here's our Dragonspark Reactor. And now here's our Reinforced Ronin. We get to attacking with both of these. They only have a chump block. If they do chump block, they won't have a 2-2 because they're not putting a +1/+1 counter anywhere, so they can't really afford to, so they take it all down to 14. Now they do have a 2-2 Spirit. Three mana up. Zeus's Many Journeys. They play an additional land this turn, gain 3 life next turn, and then spit out a 3-3. Kumano faces Kaka's Man. They're going to have a lot of creatures out in a couple turns, so we're going to want to do as much damage as we can in the here and now. So I think I'm going to play a Synthesizer and see what we hit here, because otherwise all we're doing is a Ronin. Which is not a lot. We do hit a land, which is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We can Assassin's Ink to kill their 2-2 if I just want to hit with a Smelter, but I don't think that I do. Let's play the Ronin. Do I want to try to hit a 1-mana card off the Synthesizer? Do I want to get that aggressive here? I kind of do, because it puts a counter on Reactor, spits a 3-1 out. Even if we don't get the Synthesizer's ability, get a lot of damage out of it. We get the 1-mana card too. Absolutely absurd hits from the Experimental Synthesizer with the Sokenzen Smelter. Wow. They do have Teachings of the Kirin flipping into a 1-1 now, but the other 2 sagas will not be a creature here. So I don't have to worry about too many blockers. I mean, I guess we'll see what they cast. Probably dealing with the Smelter here. Card's gone off quite a bit, but our Dragonspark Reactor is just lying in wait to do 6 damage to them whenever we need it. Pass the turn, hold up some instant speed removal, I'm guessing. Well, we've got Assassin's Ink for just 3 mana here at instant speed ourselves. I kind of like sacrificing the Apprentice to get a 4-2 creature out here, so I don't know if I even want to play the Synthesizer. I don't think I do. I think I'm just going to go straight to combat. Sacrifice our Apprentice. Another counter on the Reactor. Upgrade the Apprentice from a 1-1 to a 4-2. All that for only 1 mana. Seismic Wave. 2 damage to any target. 1 damage to other creatures. But they're all artifact creatures, so they don't die. Yeah, so just kills the Smelter. Fine with that. Yep. Still use the Smelter's ability here. Make one of these a 4/2, because why not? And get rid of their Kirin touched Orochi here. Unless they want to take 7, I doubt they do. Yeah, so we get rid of the Orochi here. We get to Assassin's Ink their 3/3 this turn, unless they play a bigger creature, then we'll kill that instead. And then the Dragonspark Reactor plus a 4/2 on the board should be really likely to be able to find lethal, because this will do 7 and clear out a blocker. And then we only need to hit them for 3 more. So an Upriser Renegade, fair enough. Love to see them attack with the Etching of Kumano, although now they're getting enough creatures, they probably survive next turn. But yeah, we'll just take that. What is their best blocker for our 4/2? The 2/1 or the 3/3? We'll just kill the 3/3. Go to our turn. Twisted Embrace is the draw. Twisted Embrace and blow up the 2/1, then we're attacking with a 5/3 and we kill them with Dragonspark Reactor next turn. We can also just Assassin's Ink to kill one and Synthesizer this turn to get another counter on Reactor, but I don't think the Reactor needs any more counters, so I'll just play a Twisted Embrace. Attack with a 5/3. They gotta take the Trump block here. Roadside Reliquary, they can sacrifice that to draw a card. They'll only have 2 mana up afterwards, but that's still enough mana for 2 mana, 3 damage to target creature card. But Tawashi Guidebot is the play. Make the Etching of Kumano a little bigger, so they're more likely to be able to get some blocks going. And yeah, I can Dragonspark Reactor, but it won't be lethal, and they can still block afterwards. So let's make it a little bigger, a little closer to lethal. I should not have played land yet, because I could have hit a land off the Synthesizer. I did not. High-speed hover bikes, actually ridiculous, because it's another counter on the Reactor. Granted, we don't have the mana to use the Reactor anymore, but we can Assassin's Ink their only blocker to make sure they're down to 5, and then Reactor them next turn. Yep, they are going to scoop them up here, and it's going to be a pretty ridiculous victory, with Dragonspark Reactor and Soken's and Smelter doing the absolutely atrocious things that those cards can do there. We're 5-1 now. Alright, really good hand here. The Soken's and Smelter Iron Apprentice combo ready to represent again. Definitely going to keep this. Opponent goes with a turn 1 island and passes the turn. I think I like turn 1 Iron Apprentice and waiting for the Smelter till turn 3 again. Although, I don't know, it's probably... If they don't play a creature, it's going to be more damage the other way around. I'll probably have one out by then. We'll find out. They are on blue-black turn 2 here. They do get a Mnemonic Sphere, which is not a creature. So I guess if they spend their time playing around with that, that won't pan out. Well, now I have Upriser Renegade to work with Iron Apprentice, so now things are getting even more awkward in terms of what I want to play. I think I still just go for Smelter Apprentice. It's going to cost 2 mana though next turn. 1 to play Apprentice, 1 to sack it to the Smelter. I could just play Renegade and then play Smelter Apprentice next turn, just setting them up, but not quite using them yet. And then still attack with a 3/3 Upriser Renegade, which is big. You're still getting in for a lot of damage. The Modern Age. Draw a card, discard a card. Alright. They get to do that twice, then they'll have a 2/3 flyer out, hopefully. We're just doing our thing and pressuring them really quickly here. Just get out under all their creatures before their stuff really pops off. And yeah, I mean, next turn we're going to be hitting really, really hard with these cards together. Especially with Twisted Embrace. If they end up playing like a good blocker here and we just spend the mana to Twisted Embrace, Renegade hits for 5 because we have 2 other modified creatures. So they just like spend 4 mana for the 3/2 lifelinker. I would just be living the dream. Life of Toshiro Umezawa. That's not that good here because of Iron Apprentice's ability. But it does stop the Smelter from doing atrocious things, at least. Although we draw another Iron Apprentice. How rude is that draw? Absurdly rude is what I would say. Yeah, they're going to sack that to draw a card. Now we have all of the modified creatures to make Renegade a 5/3, which is just busted. And we hit for, what, 11 here? 7, 12? Put them to 5 life? Oh my god. We have no 1 toughness creatures for Life of Toshiro Umezawa to kill. They can just gain some life, go to 7 at least, I guess. Have their 2/3 flyer ready to block with. They have 5 mana up. If they have the 5 mana Saga that does -2/-0 to everybody, be pretty good. Searchlight Companion's great as well. 2 blockers off 1 card is pretty important here. There's Nezumi Prowler, a 3/1 for another blocker. So now we just start slamming down Twisted Embraces, I think. To get this stuff out of the way, if we Twisted Embrace the 3 power blocker they have 1, 2, 3, 4 power total on their board, which means if they want to kill Renegade, they have to block it with everybody. Yeah, I think we kill Nezumi Prowler here with our Upriser Renegade. That's the plan here. And if they want to kill Renegade, they have to block it with everybody, which would mean they take 7, so they can't kill Renegade here if we attack with these. What are their best blocks if we attack with these? They can kill one of these 2, but that's it. They can double block this to kill it. They can double block this to kill it. They could single block and kill and 1 block to chump. They can't yet. This is great. They can't choose to kill the Renegade here. Or they die, and they can only kill 1 of the other 2 creatures. Yeah, so we kill their big creature here. We still have a Twisted Embrace. And they're down to 3 now. Any creature getting in is lethal. So our Peerless Samurai is looking really scary. A menace creature to attack in with. They do have 3 cards in their hand, which is an issue. Ninjutsuing out something to bounce a creature. There goes our 4/2. Pretty brutal here. Oh no, Ninjutsu out the lifelinker. Okay. It's not as bad, but it is still very good for them. Gain some life. Okay, we can blow up the Futurist Operative with Twisted Embrace. They have to block a Renegade if we modify it. Actually, do we just kill them? We just kill them if we Ronin and then Twisted Embrace, right? Because we blow that up. They go block, take 6. Yeah, we just kill them. I guess it's the most damage if we put it on Ronin because that makes Renegade even bigger. Yeah, block Renegade, take 7. Just dead. Ridiculous draws that game. Ridiculously aggressive stuff from the deck. 6-1 here as we head into round 8, the final battle, potentially, if we win. We have turn 1 Iron Apprentice into turn 2 Renegade, and even if that dies, we've got a high-speed hover bike to crew with the Apprentice. I'm going to keep this, even though we have the double black card of Assassin's Ink, just because of how potentially explosive turn 1 Apprentice, turn 2 Renegade can be, with the backup plan of a pretty solid hover bike. We're definitely hoping to draw a swamp more than anything else, and I'm glad I said something because Arena is just being incredibly kind to me today. Exceptional draw there. Just give us exactly what the doctor ordered, or what the Gomlet ordered. I don't have a PhD. Era of Enlightenment. Scry 2, gain 2 life, then create a 2/2 first striker. The life gain is going to be helpful for them here, but it's not going to spit out a creature for a little while, so still get to stay pretty aggressive. Okay, we do actually really want another black source. Undercity Scrounger can help with that a lot. Would I rather do that or the high-speed hover bike? This might be a little weird, but I'm going to hold on to the hover bike so that I know I can tap down whatever creature they play here. Scrounger is like good no matter what. Hover bike is great if they play a creature. A little awkward if they don't. I was not expecting to just 4 mana untapped, but nothing to do here. Yeah, that is pretty strange. Well, we can just play the Scrounger, because we won't be able to cast any removal anyway. So play that here and then crew the Hover Bike this turn. Get more damage in this way. But I guess it actually does work out to be more damage by having played this way. We're just going to kill the Renegade. We hit for 3. Well, they have stopped most of our early aggro, but luckily the rest of our hand plays well for a long game. Multiple removal spells. Guidebot to sit there and draw us cards. Still feeling pretty solid this game. They do have a Boseiju Reaches Skyward, which can be a massive reach creature, but we can just kill that. We do hit the next black mana for the Guidebot, which is beautiful. So yeah, Guidebot's looking like a great way to draw cards. There's nothing we want to kill on board right now. So we'll go ahead and put a counter on the Scrounger, so we have 2 modified creatures for the Guidebot to utilize. Plus now we have a really good blocker for a 2/2 first strike. And we'll keep hitting with Iron Apprentice until they get a reach creature or a flyer, such as the Branch of Boseiju. Could even attack with the Scrounger if I want to just be aggressive. That's actually probably better than holding it as a blocker, because we're at 20, they're at 14. Let's keep a bit of that pressure on, make sure hitting them for 2 each turn with a Hover Bike is meaningful. They have 6 mana now. Just pass the turn. They're just trying to get a branch out, I suppose. Bring back a Renegade. We can't do that. Renegade is not an artifact, so our Kami doesn't do much. Just hold on to these spells here. Hold on to an instant speed Assassin's Ink, I guess. Guidebot only costs 2 to use, so I guess I can do that and still hold on to Assassin's Ink, so we'll do that before I do anything else here. And see if we draw anything we want to cast pre-combat. We don't. So, crew the Hover Bike. Attack with the team for 4. Combat Trick to try to kill the Scrounger here. We'll respond with an Assassin's Ink if that's the case, and then we'll use our Soul Transfer to kill the big branch. Yep, we'll have to Assassin's Ink here because they'll kill it in first strike. And if I Assassin's Ink, it no longer kills it. Alright, double Combat Trick. Still ends up being in our favor, I think, because we got the Hexproof spell out of the way so they can't use it on their massive branch, which is really important. Okay, well, now I'm even happier that we got the Hexproof out of the way so they can't use it on their AO the Dawn Sky unless they have 2 copies of it. That would be brutal. Okay, cool. They did not have another one of that. So that is excellent. Unfortunately, I only have 1 modified creature now, so I don't have the mana to draw a card anymore. And of course, we can't attack our flyer into their massive reach creature. But this Thundering Raiju should be really good with the Guidebot. Do a lot of damage with our modified creatures that we have. We'll take 7 here. We can take a few swings from that. Okay, another Assassin's Ink's pretty nice. Fortunately, won't have the mana to do that if I play the Raiju, but I think it's still worth playing the Raiju here. It's a pretty wild attack, isn't it? I can still just get in the sky right now, actually, without even playing the Raiju. 3 mana for Assassin's Ink, 3 mana to draw a card, so we can just hit for 2 in the sky, draw a card, and kill the branch. Let's just try to do that. I'm just going to try to kill the branch right now. Okay. So I think that's the line then. This is instant speed, right? It is. So I'll do that during their turn here. Draw the next card. Befriending the Moths. So they can hit us for 3 in the sky if they want, but then they're taking quite a bit on the crackback. They go for it here. Might be playing another blocker post-combat. They are not. Maybe holding up some removal. Or they just believe they can outrace us. Which is definitely not going to be the case once we drop Thundering Raiju. Because now we go crew. It's lethal immediately if they have nothing. Alright, scoop them up. That is going to be game. That is 7-1 with this ridiculously aggressive Rakdos sealed deck. The kind of aggression you usually only see in draft, but just a nice low curve in the sealed pool, a massive amount of removal in the black part of the deck to really kind of supplement all the aggressive, just red artifact creature style stuff. So one final look at the deck, but a 7-1 run is going to end the video. Ridiculous curve, tons of 1-drops, and then it just like, falls off as it rises. The Assassin's Ink even only costs 3 the majority of the time, sometimes even only costs 2. So yeah, super sweet deck here. Had a lot of fun with it, but that is going to end today's sealed event and the video for the day. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see some more Magic Arena, particularly a lot of Limited, just stick around on the channel. You are at the right place. You can always like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like more of these videos to show up in your recommended feed. Otherwise, you can check the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, where I do play live on occasion, trying to hit Mythic this month. And that's pretty much it. All I've got to say after all that is thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.